Hello, beloveds, and welcome to another episode of A Spiritual Remedy. My name is Sunshine Daye, and what a joy it is to greet you today and to be here with you. Right off the bat, I want to tell you that I am not live. It's actually for me Sunday night, and I'm pre-recording this message because I want to be accountable to you and because I want to make sure that every Monday you're getting some inspiration, especially around recovery, because I see a world where clean and sober people who are abstinent, people who are laying down their weapons of mass distraction, are living their best life and loving it. And that's why every Monday I come to you. And so tonight's message that I'm recording for you on Monday morning is really a message around this idea of being willing to go to any lengths. Now, when I talk about willing to go to any lengths, I recall my early sobriety, and I recall it this time around because relapse is part of my recovery story. And one day at a time, I have over 36 years of sobriety. So when I speak to you from that kind of consciousness and awareness and that kind of experience. Well, what I want to share with you is, willing to go to any lengths. That whole idea works, and it works well in early recovery, and it actually works well in a lot of areas of life. So for me, that willing to go to any lengths, it comes from chapter 5 in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, where it says, if you've decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any lengths to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. Now, I know for me, my bottom, which I share about often, I felt like a stray dog that had been hit by a car, that had a limp, that had patches of hair missing, that had fleas, and just kind of walking aimlessly down the street. It was either, shoot me, let me die, take me out of my misery, or show me how to live. And it was that kind of surrender for me. It was like, show me how to live. And of course, there were some people there, of course, through a hospital program and then through additional support, that I found a group of people who were willing to show me how to live sober and how to make the best of my life. And one thing led to another and led to another, led to another. Now, was I willing to go to any lengths? And that was interesting because that was a question that Lovey C asked me when I called her and told her one more time I messed up and that I wanted to get sober. And she asked me, are you willing to go to any lengths for your sobriety? And I said yes. And that was the second question that she asked me. The first question that she asked me is, are you tired? And I was tired. If you remember the dog that I just talked about a few minutes ago, I was tired. Take me out of my misery, show me how to live. And it was there that I had that willingness to go to any lengths. I often joke that if you told me that right over there was 2 pails of horse manure and I was to pick that pail up and walk around the block 10 times, I was knocking you down to make sure nobody else got those 2 pails. And I was willing to go to any lengths. I was willing because I no longer wanted what I had. I don't know about you. I'm wondering though, are you at that point where you're tired and sick and tired and now willing to go to any lengths for something in your life, especially something like recovery, spirituality, turning our will and our lives over to the care of an indwelling power and presence that's the solution to all of our daily living problems? Now, for me, I no longer wanted what I had, so I was definitely willing. And even to do things that were counterintuitive, but I had to surrender to win. And that might seem kind of really, really weird, but how is it that you could possibly surrender and win? Well, when I surrendered, I actually began a path of recovery that helped me to win. And what have I won? Well, besides the 36 years of not picking up a pill, fix, or drink, right? I have gained, friendship, love in my life. I'm incredibly blessed to be able to work. I'm incredibly gifted to be able to share my experience, strength, and hope with other people. And, when I think about this topic of willing to go to any lengths, are you willing to go to any lengths for your recovery? What are you willing to go to any lengths for? I had a friend once who was a diabetic, and talk about like addiction and addiction to sugar and addiction to food, addiction to shopping, or any addiction, alcohol addiction. And this friend ended up in the hospital time after time after time, and the doctors kept telling him, you need to stop, all this sugar, all this eating, all this candy, all of this stuff, like you need to stop. And promises, but didn't stop. You need to stop, but again, didn't stop. We're gonna amputate your leg. You need to stop. Some people, and I don't know why, and this is not a judgment, but some people are not willing to go to any lengths. And when they're not willing to go to any lengths, even get through the pain, it can lead to death. And my diabetic friend was in the hospital and would have his friends bring candy to the hospital and just could not stop. Now, I know people like that. I know people like that as it relates to alcohol, as it relates to drugs, as it relates to shopping, sex, as it relates, to a debt, being in debt, gambling, that at some point in time, the question is, are you willing to go to any lengths? Are you willing to stop what you're doing? Do you have the ability to ask for help? Are you willing to shed the pounds if that's what needs to happen? Are you willing to do what it takes to live a healthy, joyous, and free life? And I consider myself someone who was able to get out of that addiction, able to get out of that way of thinking and that mindset, because so many others just cannot or will not completely give themselves to this type of living. And I'm wondering what you think about that. And for those of you who have been sober as long as I have been sober, or even longer, or somewhere in between, are you still willing to go to any lengths for your sobriety? What does that look like today? In the beginning, it looked like I was going to meetings all the time. Now that I have some recovery and some sobriety, and my mindset is way different, am I willing to skip meetings? Am I willing to be at a social gathering where there's alcohol? My willing to go to any lengths is a little bit different now. And yeah, like when I travel, like I am now, am I willing to find, a meeting in this area and go and hang out? Am I willing to hang out with sober friends and just have intimate meetings? What am I willing to do today for my recovery, for my health, for my wholeness, right? Am I willing to pray and meditate? Am I willing to try new things that are for my health and my wholeness? Am I willing to exercise? Am I willing to help other people and freely give to them what I got so freely? So, this topic about willing to go to any lengths, then you're ready to take certain steps. So it's only in that, like, what we call sometimes, right, when we have the gift of desperation. Now, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to have that gift of desperation. But for me, if you remember the stray dog that I was talking about just a few minutes ago, I was desperate. Take me out of my misery or show me how to live. And it was in that gift of desperation that I was then willing to go to any lengths. And I did. I went to meetings like I was drinking, in other words, 2, 3 times a day. I was, hanging around sober people and listening to what they had to say and adopting the way of thinking and surrounding and immersing myself with the people that I wanted to have something in common with, which was sobriety. They were showing me how to live. And then they put me in contact with a power greater than myself that is living in, through, and as me, that is that indwelling power and presence that is now the solution to all of my daily living problems. Now, here's the thing, is that, I thought, right? I thought 12-step programs or recovery programs or treatment programs were just going to show me how to live sober or even show me how to drink. I did not know that this was all a spiritual program, and that it was going to teach me about this power and presence. And that as I began developing my own ideas, and as I began really searching and looking for truth, that truth was also right there in that big book. And that it said that deep down within every human being is the fundamental idea of good, of God, of higher power, of spirit, of infinite intelligence and presence. And that it is only there within that I could find the great reality. And so am I willing to go to any lengths today? So what that means for me today is, am I willing to engage in my regular practice of prayer and meditation to really go deeper? Because what my alcoholism looks like today and what it looked like when I first got sober is very, very different. And what it took to get sober then is not what it takes to stay sober today. But in fact, what is necessary is a spiritual practice, a daily spiritual practice. Are you willing to go to any lengths, even if you don't believe, even if you think, oh yeah, well, I don't know, that stuff doesn't work for me? Here's the truth of my recovery, and that is that it is through spiritual practice, through prayer, through meditation, through visioning, through visualization, through all of those practices, the serenity prayer, where I get this opportunity to know that I'm given this gift to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, and that lies right here. Like, these are the things that are important to me, and that's why I wanted to come to you today to make sure that you got this weekly, a spiritual remedy, weekly program. So that you might be inspired, and that you might ask yourself the question, am I willing to go to any lengths for my sobriety, for my abstinence, for my health, for my wholeness, for my sanity, for my emotional health and welfare? And that's key. Because if we're not willing to go to any lengths, then we might get a new sobriety date. We might get a new abstinent date. We might get a new date. But if I'm still willing, and what does that any length look like today for me? Because it changes from the beginning to currently. So please know that you are loved. I want to remind you that you can call our phone number, 562-928-6460. Actually, send me a text and text your gratitude. If you want more information, starting September, we're going to have classes. I'm going to do a serenity prayer. I'm going to do a new pair of glasses. I'm going to do a sober group. It's going to be in the city of Huntington Beach, and it will also be online. So if you want to do something hybrid, please send me a text at 562-928-6460. Let me know that you're interested. And also want to tell you that I am so grateful to Vida Spiritual Learning Center. That's VIDA, which is life, Vida Spiritual Learning Center. So grateful for producing my show. So grateful that it is there at the Vida Spiritual Learning Center that I will be hosting courses and classes and doing all kinds of things to support us and to really create a spiritual learning community where together we grow and unfold our very best life. We're having an open house August the 12th. It's Saturday, August the 12th. If you're in the Southern California area, please send me a text, 562-928-6460. And I will send you the address so that you can RSVP and come on Saturday the 12th from 1 to 3 p.m. and hang out with us and check out our new digs, our new offices, and really be a part of this spiritual learning community. Well, beloveds, are you willing to go to any lengths? Send me a text. Let me know. I'm here to support. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in to A Spiritual Remedy. And I look forward to seeing you again next week, right here, live. Bye for now.